Thank you for joining us today on Music Marvels with Achickwitbeatz and Breezy Gipson. We're so happy that you decided to spend this time with us. And, we just enjoy what we do. We love having you here with us.
Absolutely, positively, man. It's a brand new. Hey, spring is right around the corner, and we about to do this thing.
Absolutely. So, we got Sean Cobain coming through with one of his powerful segments. So we're excited to share that with you. And of course, we have music industry news and beats by yours truly.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, let's go.
right, for all the ladies and gents out there in the place, in this space right now, we are welcome. We're just very excited. We're just overjoyed because right now coming into the space and this place is a young woman she's knocking it out on the trail in many different ways, in many different forms. And so we're just elated to welcome to our show this week's show, the one and only Phynix Flower. Phynix, are you with us?
Hello everyone. How y'all doing?
Good. Glad to have you with us.
Good. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Good deal. I mean, so I'm excited. Achickwitbeatz is excited, and there's a lot that you have to put on the table to educate our listeners and all around the globe. So yes, let's go straight ahead right now because time is flying, and we got our chin straps buckled and our seatbelts buckled. Hear what you have to share. So now, without any further ado, okay, share with our listeners just who is Phynix Flower, and where does she come from, and what does she represent on Earth today? How about that?
All right. So, who is Phynix Flower? She or me? I actually have, taken the opportunity. I feel blessed. I have my own LLC. So Phynix Flower actually is an LLC. And basically, I'm in entertainment. So basically, I'm an actress. I'm a vocalist. I do teach both. So, that's something that I do virtually as well. So, all the listeners, if y'all are interested in that, hit me up. But I truly enjoy the art of theater. I'm looking to get into some more film, but I've been doing theater, oh my goodness, I don't know, for at least 20 years or better. And I've been singing since the Sandbox. So, that was my audience. It was the squirrels and the birds and I was singing on the Sandbox. So, but I truly enjoyed the art of theater. And so that's one of my focal points. Because unlike film, you can't cut and start over, right? When you go to a live theater performance, there is an art, and that's why so many people that are actually in the film industry, they have so much more notoriety when they came from the world of theater, because it's a whole different animal to be on stage and the lamp falls over. You can't say cut and go pick the lamp up, put it back, and everybody go back and say, okay, take two. You know what I'm saying? We don't have no take two, no take sevens. It's right now, And so the art of being quick and being able to, fix things that can happen in the moment that nobody's expecting, I genuinely love that element of it. So that's one of the passions that I have alongside, my singing. And so I actually lend myself also to different venues, private events, weddings, things like that, so people need a, wedding singer, or I've done some paint and twist, hosting, adding an element of comedy, because I stepped into the world of comedy as well. So, people think I'm funny, and I said, all right, cool, whatever. So, but I guess I do a lot. And I also provide team building exercises and activities for businesses. So if anyone out there, has their own business and they have a team and they want to do some type of an exercise, I can bring some life to your office party, I can bring some life to your office party, or, the boring, the boring meeting that you have and you want to, take a breather, or do some icebreaker things, I do that kind of thing too. So I really just, I get in where I fit in, but I do a lot of stuff. So.
Oh man. Wow. I mean, that's you well-rounded, and it is.
I wish that some of the companies I worked for would have hired you. That would have made life a lot easier.
I mean, and genuinely, I think a lot of people don't realize that. But simple team building activities can help, because especially when we got this, equal opportunities thing, right? There's a lot of cultures and a lot of things that we genuinely just don't know anything about. And it's not because we don't necessarily, quote unquote, like them. We just don't know anything about them, right? So if you don't know anything about somebody else's culture, how can you like or dislike it? But there's still, an element of, I don't know how close I want to get to this, because most people are guarded if they tell the truth. You know what I'm saying? And so the reality is, icebreaker activities help you to realize what playing field y'all actually do meet on. It helps you to get past the barrier of, I don't look like you, I don't dress like you, I don't sound like you, I didn't come from the same place you came from. But it gives you an opportunity to laugh with that person, or an opportunity for y'all to laugh at each other, because something happens, that's funny, but it's light. And it really helped the atmosphere of offices. I mean, I know we got COVID right now, but people still got to work together, Y'all got to call each other, y'all got to email, and so sometimes, just even doing an activity like that on a Zoom would help the way that they communicate with each other, because text messages and emails are a lot alike. You don't really know the tone of that if you don't know the person, so you can read it wrong. And because you in your field, you don't really know the person. They ain't even mean it like that, But those kind of exercises help people to actually get to know each other and break down those walls of, I guess, anxiety and animosity that probably shouldn't even be there, right? Because everybody will be there to do a job. And so I think that sometimes people undercut what the entertainment industry can provide to even corporate America, because the reality is a lot of these exercises, and I went to school for theater, and so a lot of these exercises that we do, a lot of our courses double with communications and public speaking. Right? So I had a Bachelor of Fine Arts, that was my major, but I minored in communication. And I didn't have to take any different classes for it. You get what I'm saying? So it was all the same thing, So, but yeah, it's definitely fun. It's something I've been doing for a long time. I just enjoy what I do. And I think that's important for people to be able to do what they enjoy.
And so then when it comes to the music industry or the entertainment industry, the same applies, because some companies can contact you about coming out to break it down in the same way with their entertainment company or record company or music company, or as well as those others on the outside, right?
Absolutely. I'm always up for a new challenge. I love, now my vibes, all day, every day, of course, I'm a Jesus at the center of it all kind of girl. But outside of that, I love like neo soul, R&B, jazz. So those atmospheres, I don't know, I can lose myself in those atmospheres, but I'm always open to, a challenge, right? So if it's another genre, I don't feel like there's anything I can't do. It's just about figuring out how to get it done. So that, that's my take on it. And if anybody wants to present me with a challenge, I'm here to meet it. So absolutely.
Well, let me tell you, Achickwitbeatz now, the word on the street, the real street is that, see, Miss Phynix Flower, she can blow a little bit. She can, not only she sing Achickwitbeatz, she can sing. Okay? So, yeah.
Hey,
so
let's think on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So see, before, as the show winds down at the end, we may come back to that for a hot second. I don't know.
Okay.
But,
Okay.
I was just throwing a little something out there, what I mean? So it won't be just
okay.
But so now, but as when you were younger, as a child, student, okay, what did you have any outlook as far as, okay, what attracted you into rolling in these types of veins where you're tributaries where you're helping people. What attracted you, and what attracted you towards music and in being in the mix with other people?
So, I have a musical family. My mom's side is very musical. So is my dad's. I'm the youngest of 7, and out of all 7, I'm the only child that sings. So, my father's youngest of 7. My mother's only child, and so music is flowing through both sides of my family. So there was no way for me to get away from that. As it relates to theater or acting, I got my feet wet as a kid. I was probably about, I'll say maybe 6 years old or so, maybe, and that might be too old. But my father was in theater back home in Flint, Michigan. And so it was the Whiting Auditorium, which is one of the largest auditoriums that we have in our city. It's a little small town, okay, but it was big stuff, okay. So, and back in the day, they used to do the curtain calls differently. Whereas now they kind of call the names out of the people who are in the shows, right? And if you've ever seen one, even if you see a recorded Tyler Perry show, you'll see they'll come out from different parts on the stage. Well, back in the day, when they called your name, you had to walk down the middle aisle. So you had to walk from the back of the auditorium all the way to the front and up onto the stage to take your bow, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So one of the shows my father was in, they needed a little girl's voice for a voiceover. And I was like, shoot, yeah, of course I can read. Let's do it, because like I said, I arise through the challenges, right? So I was like, yeah, that's for me. So I went ahead and I did the voiceover, and I went to one of the shows, and because they knew I was there, they decided to give me my little couple seconds of shine, right? So they're like, and for the voiceover on the tape, right? I was like, ooh, that's me, right? So I got to walk down the aisle with my father, and my legs were so short, y'all. Now, I ain't too much taller than my dad right now, but my legs were so short, he had to pick me up because I was walking too slow. We had a long way to go, right? But as I'm going down this aisle with my father, and I'm looking, they had a standing ovation because it was an amazing show. And I was like, wow, are these people clapping for us like that? I was like, I could do this, And so I think that was my first, wow moment when it came to theater, And so then after that, I kind of took a little bit of a sabbatical. I would do little skits here and there, maybe at my church or something. But I really started to get into it in high school, and I became a thespian in high school. So Thespian Troop 575, yes, that's me. But, we definitely did college level theater at the high school theater magnet where I attended, and I only attended that school specifically for the theater magnet program because I was a student at another high school. So, yeah, I've been doing this thing. I graduated with 2 sets of chords. People was big mad, but I was like, I earned both sets. One of them is academic, and the other one is theater. You should have went to the theater. Yeah, of course, I got you some. Leave me alone. I'm walking. But,
oh my God! Hold on.
Yeah,
wait a minute. A chick with beats. She said she was over here taking this course, even though she was going to another school. Don't let that fly through now. Don't let that fly through.
Right.
Now that's the first person. You're the first person I've ever heard say that.
Likewise. Same here.
Yep. I went to two high schools because the one high school where my mom worked at, the one with the theater magnet, so I kind of didn't want to go there anyway because I felt like I was going to get in a lot of fights. But you know what I'm saying? Because you like my mama or you don't like my mama, and if you don't know that's my mama, and I walk up on you and you say the wrong thing, you know what I'm saying? So I had separation, But so I went to another high school, but her high school actually had the theater magnet program. And because I was always over there, they told me, they was like, well, you don't have to be, a student at the school to try out for the, the productions and, to take classes. I was like, shut up. So I was like, say less, what I'm saying? At that point. So I ended up going, to the both schools. And from my high school, I got, my honors course. And from that high school theater magnet program, I received my thespian course for completing it. Yep. And I was dual enrolled in college my 12th grade year too. So I was trying to do something, yeah.
With your conversation, with your delivery, it's easy to understand how you get along well with groups of people, but it's also easy to understand how there's an infusion of comedy in your normal conversation, because you've got the both of us kind of chuckling and laughing just listening to your experiences. Okay, so when did you discover that was another component? The comedy side was another component of who Phynix Flower is today.
So let me tell you. So I'm a Lyft driver also, okay? Because if anybody knows anything about this industry, you piece your work together, right? Because we don't have the 9 to 5 clock in, clock out and all of that. So I enjoy meeting people. I enjoy telling people about what I do. Like, I've created my own personal signs for the car so that people can see the sights and know what's around just in case they ain't from here. And then the other sign is about me, okay? So, and they on the back, you can't miss them. You're going to be staring at the back of my head anyway, so you might as well learn something about me. But the reality is, a lot of people would get into the Lyft car and they would say, "Girl, you missed your calling," and I'm like, "What you mean?" And they like, "Well, you missed your calling. Like, you should have been a comedian." I was like, "Nah, like, I ain't with the joke life, And so one day, I met a lady. I was actually recording live for an indie film, so I was doing like some extras work. And she was like, "Well, there's this comedy competition coming up." I said, "Competition? I ain't never did no comedy before." And so, I don't know. I let her talk me into it, y'all. And so the first time I ever stepped on a stage to do comedy, it was a competition. And I had no idea what I was doing. I told y'all I rise to the occasion, right? So I had no idea what I was doing. And how can you prepare for a competition when you don't even know what they're going to ask you to do? Like, you have nothing to go off of because you've never done it. And you don't know what end of the road they're coming from because they just making it up. You know what I'm saying? As far as they go along, So here I am. There were about 5 other female comedians that I was up against, and all of them had done comedy before. And so every single set they would give us, I would go out on the stage, and they would eliminate someone at the end of, they would maybe give us 3 or 4 categories. They would eliminate somebody after the end of them. And so every time I would come back, they'd be like, "Girl, you sure you ain't never did this before?" I was like, "Nah, yeah, I'm sure." Like, what you mean? I would know if I had did this before, And so, I only made it to the second round, basically, which is like, they cut somebody and then we did our categories again, and then like I ended up getting cut. But the fact that I didn't get cut first, I was like, let me find out. Jokes. And so, so that's how I got introduced into comedy. And so then somebody else hit me and was like, "Hey, there's a sipping paint and they're looking for a comedian. I can't go." And they were a comedian. They're like, "I can't go, but you can do this." I was like, "Now wait a minute." Like, hold up, like, you keep throwing me out here, And I was like, "All right, fine." So I went and I did it, and it was a hit, And so I said, "Well, okay, all right." So I guess I'm a comedian now, so let me go ahead and put that on my resume. Put that on my resume. So that's pretty much that's how it happened.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, that's how
it's like you're a fireball.
Well, I am the Phynix, so I guess that's got something to do with it. And I don't say that arrogantly. I genuinely, like, if I could say anything, because I told you Jesus at the center of it all. Like, my life is a whole movie, okay, a whole book and a story to be told, and it will be one day. But I genuinely know that God gave me the name Phynix, and I genuinely believe because of all of the stuff that I've been through. You know what I mean? I don't compare myself to people, but I know Tiffany Haddish is funny because she done been through a lot of stuff. You understand what I'm saying? And so when I know a lot of people who are comedians or very comedic people, they've been through a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I genuinely think that part of me is what cultivated the comedic side of it. So yeah.
Well, see, I don't even have to say anything anymore. We know this is a definite that you've got to come back. This is just the first of
absolutely.
many. This is just the first of many.
I'm here for it.
Okay, then.
Absolutely, yeah,
I'm here for it.
we gotta do this again. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
I mean, you see,
indeed.
it's you're really such a great inspiration to folks, to us, to me,
Mhm.
and you know, it's like your talent level, just being average, is just so. I really can't figure the words right now, other than it's very positive. It's very positive and upbeat, and you know that I give you many accolades for, because you actually
you.
now I understand how you can go into businesses, because you changed my outlook in just this short period of time, as you would change and have changed employees at other businesses.
Mhm.
Wow.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Now we got to wind this segment down, but can you promise that you'll come back, because we're gonna roll the red carpet out?
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I'll come back. I certainly will.
Okay, but now one last statement I gotta ask. Okay, now along the way, you had some folks that perhaps here and there, you know, you've mentioned your parents and other folks, you know. So if you had a short shout out list of people who have helped you in the past along your way, who would be on that list?
Ooh, Lord have mercy. Okay, so I'm gonna just start with the disclaimer. If I forget somebody, don't be mad. Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry in advance. You know, so I'm gonna just throw that out there. But I'm gonna say, of course, my parents, both of them, my mother and my father. I'm going to say, at this point, my husband, he's very supportive of me and the things that I'm doing. I'm gonna say Mr. Jennings, he was a great inspiration. I think he truly prepared me for, you know, the world of theater and what it's really like, and helped me to be able to get along with various different, you know, kinds of directors. I would say Miss B or Miss Beverly Banks, Miss Rosie. They were some of the directors that I've worked with. Onyx Keisha, Danielle Williams, McCord. Oh my goodness! Like the list.
The list is long. Okay. So,
Yeah.
but now, as we get ready to go ahead and shut down, can you please give out all of your contact information, so people in different cycles, they'll be able to follow you and connect with you?
Absolutely. Oh, and I don't want to forget this person either. So I'm gonna just throw this in there because this next part gonna be real quick. So Smokey B too, because I was in some stuff with her as well, in one of her productions. But yes. So my contact information, all of my social medias follow the same format. So if you put in the @ and then you type in Phynix Flower, and that's like spelled PHYNIX SLOWR, you will find me. If I'm on a social media, if you type that in, I'm gonna pop up, and it'll pop up with my logo, which is the girl with the fro with the pink flower and the fire in the Phoenix. So you'll see it. And then I also have my own website. And you can, if you're looking to, you know, book for services or take some, you know, voice lessons or acting technique classes, or do some sessions, you can do all of that on the website in that same format, www.phoenixflower, and the flower has no E. So PHYNIXFLOWR.com.
Whoa.
Awesome.
Now Achickwitbeatz, now that's compact right there. She just came in to set it up.
She really did. We really appreciate you. And I know I definitely needed the pick me up of having you on the show today. So thank you.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
glad to be here. And y'all let me know when we don't do this again. Because I'll be here with bells on.
She said with bells on. Let's see. So now that other aspect of two homegirls up in the house now, that seemed like that was kind of flowing right there.
Oh yeah.
Hey. I mean, you know, when we try to do what we can do when we can do it, you know?
Right.
Well, look, you know what? You're going to have me laughing. I'm going to have to shut this down. I'll be laughing all night. So, but again, so if you join our show late, you know, you've heard the illustrious voice of Miss Phynix Flower, and we really want you to come back, and looking forward to you coming back, but wishing you the best of success in every area of your life that you enter. Ain't that right, Achickwitbeatz?
Absolutely, 100% cosign.
Oh, I know. You know what? I know y'all gonna be ready to shoot me in the foot, but give me 2 seconds, okay? Because I'll make this real quick. 3 things. One thing is I have a virtual comedy show coming up, so you can watch it from anywhere. You can find all of the information about these events on my website. But I've got a virtual comedy show coming up on the 28th of March. On April the 24th, I'm in a production called A Changed Mind by Russell Tyson with Inspired Images. And coming soon is going to be From Porn to the Pulpit. It's a true story. And it's by Daniel Williams McCord. So y'all stay tuned for what's coming.
Awesome.
Yes, ma'am. We will do. So again, so ladies and gents, that's the one and only voice of Miss Phynix Flower. And so support this great lady, follow her, send her business, and just do everything you can to make sure great things keep happening for her. And thank you for joining Achickwitbeatz and myself today, and we're looking forward to you coming back and joining us.
Yes,
absolutely.
Right. Hey, ladies and gents, this is a segment right here that we have that comes up periodically, and I get hyped, really, really charged up about this segment because the young man that's bringing this is really bringing this. Okay, there's points of view, ideas coming from, all different directions, but it's all designed to educate and make you think about certain situations. So without any further ado, bring her right back to the show one more again, the one and only Sean Cobain.
I appreciate that. As always, happy to be here.
We're very glad to have you.
And it's actually awesome that you said that. I'm still getting used to introduction, so it's awesome. But that's literally all my intentions are. I know for a lot of people, sometimes like you're a know-it-all. It's like, well, I'm just sharing my information, my experiences. Because one of the things that I've learned in the community. For some reason, our people, especially in this industry, they want to gatekeep information. Mm-hmm. And that's really the worst thing you could do to the culture, especially in such a time. This is one of the only industries where people become millionaires overnight. Mm-hmm. So to take that ability from people just because you don't want to share information, because you feel like, you didn't pay your dues or they're going to have to pay their dues, X, Y, Z. That's something that we have to get away from. And a lot of my experiences have come from, it's real world experience, things that I've seen. And I didn't always plan on being in entertainment, so it's not necessarily something that I was building my model after. So I took those experiences, different demographics, different backgrounds. And when you work closely with people, you're working 40 plus hours a week. You see people consistently more than you see your family. You spend a lot of time together. And I know how I felt as far as being and working in a space. People are more productive if they don't mind being there. No one wants to be forced to do anything. Mm-hmm. So if we're all here and we can enjoy it, and it just comes down to really just communication, right? Understanding that we're all different, but you have to have that ability. You have to really be open and accept that, hey, we're all different. And people are going to express themselves differently, X, Y, Z. As long as there's respect there's definitely acceptance for different. And in the professional world, as far as entrepreneurs, you get a lot of people, what people don't understand is when hip hop started, as far as entertainment goes, those entertainers were telling the story of those street cats. They weren't really doing that. Those were pretty much like their sponsors, pretty much. That was their record label. Whatever D-Boy it was, their crew, that's who they put on for, that's what they rapped about. And what people don't understand is they didn't have the money to go in there and go in the recording studios. Well, that's why it was funded. They told their story for them. In exchange, they got to hang around the rap life, et cetera, et cetera. Some went legit, some didn't. But what people have to understand is a lot of those street cats, the reason why they were street cats back then is because they didn't speak the other language. So there's definitely a corporate language to it. So the entertainment industry, yes, it is fun. Yes, it is lax, but it's still very much an industry and it is a business. And everyone forgets sometime when they're chasing a dream that you're chasing a corporation, right? Each individual corporation. And that's something that is more dangerous or more predatory than just dealing with one corporation. You see what I'm saying? Because now you have a bunch of individuals that you're dealing with who all have pretty much what's best for them in mind as well. So yeah, if anytime they come to you and someone's offering you a deal, you have the leverage because they see potential to make money off of you, right? Not make money with you. They want to make money off of you. So that's where the art of negotiation and the experience of speaking that language. And you don't have to be a professor in it. You don't have to be perfect, have perfect knowledge on the situation or the topic. You just have to know enough to be dangerous. So when you start speaking and what the first thing they're going to do to trip you up and intimidate you is they're going to use key terms, large words, acronyms, things typical people wouldn't understand, and they know that. So what you have to do is already be prepared. Kind of research a little bit. Talk to, you don't have to necessarily get a business manager, find your PR, marketing, kind of help. They'll help you a little bit navigate because they have different experiences. They touch multiple people, all of those levels. And a lot of times you can do that in a relatively affordable package. And it also teaches you how to speak that language. So now you have someone to interpret for you or someone to speak for you, because that way when you open your mouth, they can't see right away and pretty much attack you at the seams of your ignorance. And there's nothing wrong with being ignorant. The problem is staying ignorant, especially if it's something, within a like field. So I spend a lot of my time, and I tell people all the time, so I'm not necessarily I don't chase the success stories, right? We see that, but we also know that's few and far in between. Even the people that are successful chase their mistakes. I want to know why the people around them didn't advance for whatever reason. Or I'm more or less, like I've known personally, maybe that I know of, 4 millionaires in life, like as a kid or previous to now. None of them had anything to do with music. 2 of them former. Now, the 1 or 2 who still have money, that's cool, that's great for them. But the case study for me were the people who lost it. And it's just trying to figure out, and then it's one of those things. They were just put in an opportunity, had money that they didn't research, weren't prepared for. So like money is a whole new experience. It's a whole new life. And it's a totally different language. So if you're not willing to start with understanding the language to make sure that you're not signing predatory deals, predatory contracts, predatory split sheets, et cetera, the game is regulated, and it's regulated by the federal government. So that goes to show you what regulation, really is. So there's a lot of wiggle room within those regulations for you to be upside down in your deal. Like, there should be provisions to where a person cannot sign over 100% of their publishing in exchange for anything, right?
Right.
So when you think about regulation, you have to really understand that you're limiting yourself for whatever reason, and they have no problem with taking full advantage of you. Anytime they're knocking at your door, you have the leverage of any situation, and you never take the first deal. You never take the first deal because for the most part, if they're offering you something, you worth 10 times that. And as a matter of fact, Master P said the same thing because they base this a case study, right? So if they spend $1 million on marketing, studies show, and they're out there, you do your Googles, you're going to hit your target. You're not going to get $1 million worth of marketing. You're going to get about 10% of that. So for a lot of people, it's hard for them to understand, like, man, only roughly 100,000. Hey, well, you're going to do that. But that's also why that stuff is a tax write-off. Boom, boom, boom. But see, it's a different language, so they don't understand when these companies are throwing money at you and they're paying for your likeness and blah, blah, blah. And you're taking this money up front. You're thinking, man, this is great. No, that's not great. Now anything that you do from here on out is going to cost you merely because you didn't speak the language and you weren't smart enough to look at it as an investment. Right? You don't speak the language, you need to find someone who does. Not necessarily a close friend. Go out there, Attach yourself to professional. It costs money to make money, believe that. But if you commit to it, you just do it a little bit in the beginning, it'll take you so much further. And those professionals a lot of time know people. And if they see potential in you and they can make money with you, which that's what you always want them to do, make sure they make money with you and not off of you. And it'll never be predatory. They'll always look at it as a fruitful relationship. And when they don't, you cut them off right away because you know you started off the right way with them. So it can be a lot simpler. I was talking to people the other day, and well, you have to screw people over to get ahead. And so, well, that's one of those the business models we have to get away from, because also the people who are screwing people over run and control the industry. The power is now out of their hands because we don't need them anymore. DSPs are the best things that can happen to creators when it comes to entertainment. You know, you cut the middleman out, you're pretty much your direct. You know, that's a direct link. You can see everything that you're doing. So, in short, we just want to wrap up in a nutshell. People have to understand there are things called dual confirmation. I saw an exchange on Twitter where people had a problem with someone texting them after they paid a deposit for their services. So I interject, and of course, then you have people saying what they say, and then I'm like, well, you're wrong, because I can give you several examples, and you just don't understand because they're so well integrated and woven into our lives that we don't understand these things. So if you pay car insurance every month, you commit to however you're going to pay, checking account, credit card, whatever. You get an email 2 days before they take the money out. What do? They send you a text or an email, possibly even a reminder phone call, to make sure that you know, hey, in 2 days, we're pulling this money for two reasons. They want to make sure the money is there. The other reason is, if you have any reason or any reason why you can't pay or anything, typically you have 24-hour window. They're giving you that opportunity then. So people being offended by dual confirmation is completely asinine to me, because things happen, right? I've been in a situation to where everything was cool. All of a sudden, car expense pops up. Man, things are a little tight this week. If I pay this, I'm gonna really be in bad shape for a few days. I'd rather not. Hey, can I push this off for a few days? Awesome. And it's because I got that reminder, and it let me know that if you don't do this within the next 24 hours, man, you're gonna be in bad shape for the next 4 days. So I take those experiences in life and I apply that to business, you know, because no one had it all. You know, everyone's lived check to check at one point for the most part. If you haven't, you're fortunate. Great for you. But even then, they don't even necessarily understand the joys of success because they haven't seen a certain low. So don't judge yourself against people who've had a better chance at you, who've had better experiences, because they don't have they won't have the same amount of happiness because they don't know that a certain amount of lows exist. So learn what you can, attach yourself to that, even in passing, you know, be cordial, be respectful to people, even your peers, right? We have this thing to where people are, especially in the rap industry, black men are ops. You got to stop that. Those are your peers. It's no different like the NBA. It's friendly competition, because most of them are acting anyway. Because remember, they're telling the stories of other people. As long as if we can start talking and communicating with one another, respecting one another better, we can see this industry get a lot stronger, and we can gain a lot more traction for artists and take the larger corporations out of it, keep it more fair, and people's family can actually succeed off of their own names.
Man, that's heavy.
Strong stuff.
Sorry to rant a little bit there, but it's just one of those things. And the more, you know, and I watch a lot of younger people, and I say I have 15 years, man, of these experiences, and the corporate world wasn't pleasant. You know, every snake and predatory thing they could have done for the most part, they did. And without merit, you know, nobody deserves that. So I'm telling you by my experiences, but I was smart enough to get out. You know, a lot of people look at it and say, well, why would you walk away from that? Because I know I was worth more. Proof of concept is when I ran their business perfectly, you know, to scale, to metric. Not saying it was perfect, but I hit my goals. So I invested that power into myself, and that's what a lot of people have to do. You go to work every day to push someone else's dream. Invest that time, that power, that energy into yourself. And you can do it at the same time, but at one point, you're going to have to fully commit to yourself. And until you do that, you won't find success in your field.
Man, I wish I could underline that. That's some good stuff, man. You're always dropping gems. We really, really love having you on.
And I appreciate it. It actually gives me a release, so that way I don't drive the people around me crazy.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on and sharing your knowledge, every time. Just like Breezy said, it's a treat. So, keep doing what you do.
Love being here. Look forward to the next segment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you brought us about 45 golden nuggets again.
Right.
Try and get it there, man. Pack it in. Use sound bites, clips whenever possible. I just want that information to really get out there. Just want people to hear that, because it could change someone's life forever.
Absolutely. And so, before we do close this out, if you could, for anybody listening out there that may not have caught it the last time, if you could give your social media so they can connect with you, follow you, and all that good stuff.
Yes, I'm primarily active on Twitter. That's my favorite platform. Sean Cobain. That's HONCOBAIN. Sean Cobain. That's at Twitter and Instagram. And also, you can catch me at Lyrical Ambush ENT on Instagram. So we're in the middle of a rebrand right now. We're excited. We got new music coming. So I'm actually glad you asked about that. So be on the lookout for that.
Awesome. Well, we thank you, and we can't wait to have you back again soon.
Right, that's right.
Thank you.
Man, it's always great when he comes through. I love all the information and knowledge that he shares, and just make sure that you check him out, like on social media, follow him, because he's always got good tidbits and information. So make sure you do that.
Yes, he does, and make sure you do.
All right, we're gonna get back to some more music, and then we'll be back with music industry news right after that. All right, and we're back with music industry news. Of course, the Grammys are tomorrow. The Grammy Awards body is supposed to be studying women's representation in music business because only 23% of nominees for the televised portion tomorrow identify as women. Just 23%. Yeah.
Not good.
Not good at all. And another study recently found that the Grammys rarely award Black artists with top honors. So, the new study found this. Many of us were already aware, but only 24% of this year's top Grammy nominees were Black. It only takes one hand to count the number of Black artists who have actually won a Grammy in the big 4 categories in the last 9 years. There's only been 4. And even that number is misleading because it includes Black artists that were actually on other white performers' songs. So, yeah, there's a lot of inequality going on. I'm happy that they're doing these studies to kind of, figure it out and fix it. But the biggest problem with it is that, so the way that they do the voting, they've hand selected the committee for the top 4. So not everybody has the opportunity to be selected for that. So with this committee that's kind of handpicking these supposedly to make sure that everything stays diverse, it's actually doing the opposite. So, that's something that definitely needs to be dismantled the way that it's currently being handled. And, I personally tend to kind of duck out and not really pay attention to the Grammys that much. Not to say anybody out there who's won any awards, didn't deserve them, but it's just not fully collective and representing all the talent that's actually out there. Wouldn't you agree?
I would totally. There's a lot of room for improvement. I would totally agree with you.
Yes. And a couple other big news stories that popped, which you've probably heard of by now because, it's just buzzing all over the internet. But Triller Network bought Versus from Timbaland and Swiss Beats. And so now they're going to be a part of the Versus management team, but, they're not disclosing any figures. But for as protective as they were over the Versus brand, for them to just be like, hey, yep, you know what? You guys got it. So Triller must have been coming with the big bucks. And just in case, you're not familiar with Triller, we've talked about them quite a few times on the show, actually. But, they run the popular network that's considered as TikTok's rival. So that'll be really interesting to see how that goes because, initially Apple had rights to it. So now that exclusive deal is over, yeah, they're working with Triller. So we'll see what comes from that.
That's all I can say is.
All right. And then another big story that I'm sure you've probably heard by now, but, it'd be remiss not to mention it. Square just bought Tidal for $297 million. So Jay-Z took a good chunk of change for that. It's increased his net worth. And, I think it's kind of cool. He's going to stay on the board. So it's not like he's totally abandoning it. And Arab music streaming app Ngami just listed on the NASDAQ for trading in the US. So if you're interested in, buying into a music streaming company that most of us in the US aren't familiar with, you now have the opportunity to do that. Apparently, it's the first Arab music streaming app that to ever trade in the US. So, that's a big deal for them. Also, just so you know, that app has 70 million registered users. And it also has partnerships with Universal, Sony, and Warner, so the big 3. So they have rights to stream a lot of music. But for them to have 70 million registered users just kind of shows the significance of making sure that your music is out there where people can listen. So, you want to make sure before you choose a distributor that, they offer other markets outside of the US. Although, yes, we are one of the big numbers up there, but there's so much potential to, just think outside of the box, outside of the US, outside of home, to just expand your audience potentially.
Right. Totally.
All right. And then also we learned that Germany's recorded music revenues grew 9% to $2 billion in 2020. So this is once again another representation of how the lockdown has kind of increased music streaming. And so we're seeing all these different sectors kind of reflecting that in different ways. So 28.5% of their market came from physical copies. So, you know, if you're questioning if people still use them, is it worth pressing up CDs for your new song or whatever? There are people out there. There's still a market for it. There's still potential there. But yeah, 71.5% of that $2 billion came from digital. So streaming, you know, downloading and all that good stuff. So these are some good stats to know, you know, just how people are consuming music in the best way to get your music to other people's ears.
Better wake up and get with it, get in the rhythm.
Yeah.
And if you want to generate income from multiple ways, have multiple streams of income within the music industry.
Right. All right. And we also have new information that Beatport has just offered the world's first web-based DJ mixing application. And so I've already seen a little bit of mixed reaction to it because, you know, some DJs that have been doing it the old school way for a long time don't really appreciate that. But it also kind of expands the horizons for people looking to get into DJing and learn. So, little tidbit, if you have one thought, one way or another, chime in, tap in with us, let us know what you think.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I got to say this right here, this tidbit right here. Speaking of, or referring to one of our music news notes with the Grammys and female participation. But see, now right here on this show is totally created, produced, mixed, whatever that needs to be done by a female. And that female is the one and only Achickwitbeatz. And each and every week, these sounds that you hear on this show are actual originals created and produced by Achickwitbeatz. And many of those for the aspiring artists, whether you're hip hop, whether you're rap, whatever, you know, a lot of different genres, many of these tunes can be purchased. They're just sitting there waiting for you. They could be your next big hit. They're waiting for you to put your lyrics, add your lyrics, however you want to do that to the beats. Having said that, the gold nugget for today, visit Achickwitbeatz.com. Search through the libraries on there and might find one or two or maybe even more that could just fit right into your next movie score, your next album, whatever you're doing, streaming, and check these rhythms and beats out because they're premier, they're primo, they're prime. So check it out at Achickwitbeatz.com.
Thank you so much. All right, we're going to get back to some more of those beats that he just mentioned, and we'll be back to close out the night with you right after that.
Let's do it.
And that's a wrap for this week's edition of Music Marvels with Achickwitbeatz and Breezy Gipson. Once again, we're very, very glad that you joined us. And, we can't wait to do it again next week and hope that you'll join us.
It's a really royal road, and we're on it. So thanks for joining with us.
Absolutely. So tune in, tell a friend, and we'll see you then. Till next time. Peace.